Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. If you would like to hear more about marriage and family, comment down below.
Hey Bayou family, we are back. Here we are. Once again, we're going to be talking about marriage. We had a great time this morning at our morning services at 8:30 and 10:30. We had a drive-in.
It was good.
It was amazing. It was a really good time. Ryan's speaker sounded good.
It was so good to see people.
It was good to see people.
Oh, I've been missing
I
y'all
got
so
in the,
much.
in the parking lot and was able to actually see who was there this time.
Yeah, I kind of broke a couple rules. I touched people and talked to them about their
Touched them. We touched them. So today, let me just let everybody know that I have my GPA.
I told y'all she had one.
I have an official GPA
I made it for the Monday morning after.
from Gina High School. Yay!
I started to spell Gina, but
Let's just let it go. Okay, so this week I got together and I called some people. We want to do that first?
yeah, because she talked about the things that you do to have a happy marriage. I have one that you don't do, right? Like one year, Sister Janet kept saying, "Hey, my house is always a mess. Hey, my house is always a mess."
Because I had 3 kids.
So for her birthday, I bought her a vacuum cleaner. She didn't get it. I thought, well, if she had a new vacuum cleaner, she'd clean that filthy house better. But that didn't make things better though.
Not a birthday.
No.
So what I did this week is I called some of our precious people that I haven't seen in a while and ready to see everybody. And I asked them advice on marriage. So let me just give you my advice on marriage. So I wrote this down first. My advice on marriage is that marriage is not 50-50.
It's not. Oh,
It
no.
is
No,
100% and 100%.
That's exactly right.
Each of us being intentional, each of us giving, and giving,
Well,
and serving each other.
it is important when you say the word intentional, because a lot of people don't understand what that means. They said, "Well, we mean intentional," and that's mostly guys. I'm sorry, I know. Being intentional is I do things on purpose. I think about ways to bless her. I think about things that need to be done around the house. I think about her preferences, and I intentionally, I think about it. I don't just happen. There's an old saying that a blind hog finds an acorn every now and then. But we're not trying to every now and then get it done. We are trying our best to purpose to have a good life. So I have to be intentionally making good choices.
Intentional, that's right. So we have to be intentional. I have to be intentional of how I treat him. One of the things that we've learned is we treat each other better than we treat an acquaintance. Because
Absolutely.
sometimes we meet people and we're on our best behavior because we want to make a good impression. And so, but then our family gets the leftovers, and that's not the way it should be.
Not
With
very
our
happy.
children, no, not with our children or our spouse. We should treat them better than we treat other people.
I determined when I got married that I was never going to treat someone else's wife better than I treated my wife, or someone else's children better than I treated my own children. And I knew that if I could do that I would be successful.
Right, absolutely. So serve them, respect them, and honor them, and also have fun together and spend time together.
And make each other laugh.
Yeah,
Like, I
like
do.
we do. All right. So I called a few people that I could get in touch with. Some people weren't home, so I don't know, should I tell them the names or not?
Yeah, there's nothing to be ashamed of.
No, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
I called Kathy Griffin, and she didn't let me know how long they've been married, though, because I probably forgot to ask. But she said, which is I really love. Now, she did say a lot, but I wrote down, and a lot of people said a lot, so I just kind of condensed it, I guess, a little bit. But she said, give it 10 years, and when you reach that 10, give it 10 more. Just keep on
There you
working
go.
on it.
Never
You're
stop.
learning, keep working, and it is. It's a process, and it's a commitment. And she also said, you pick your battles, and you never go home to mama.
Ooh, come on. I remember when we first got married, she told me, "I'm homesick." I thought, well, you live 5 miles from your mama, go home. I didn't know what she meant. What she meant was she didn't like being married.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you had to mention.
No, I meant I was sick. Remember, I stayed sick for a few days when we first got married. And I was ready to go home. My mom would take care of me.
Yeah, I didn't take good care of
You didn't take it that way, probably. Remember, we was just married.
We were just married. I thought, well, she don't want to be here.
And I think it was we had redone the new trailer and it was making me sick.
It was an old
glue
trailer.
and all that. Yeah,
They had all
that's
that
what it
glue
was.
make you sick, yeah.
So anyway, okay, I called Miss Lois Domain, who's so sweet. They've been married 59 years before
Wow.
he passed away. And she said they just truly loved each other. They really loved each other. They were just a really sweet couple.
And you could always tell because the way they treated each other around everybody else. They always
Very sweet.
They concerned and watched over each other.
Yeah. Beverly Babin and her husband been married 66 years.
66
Norman.
years.
She said it's a lot of give and take. And it is. You give and take.
Yes, Sister Janet takes and I give.
Well, you know, I told him when I got married that what's mine is mine, and what his is mine.
I thought she was joking. She wasn't.
No. Y'all know I'm just picking. Okay, and then Miss Talisa, we're talking with her, and it's 40-something years they've been married, which is really good. She said the one thing is forgiveness, and that is so true.
Not the whole thing,
Yeah, forgiveness. We have to forgive each other because we all make mistakes, and we have to practice that forgiveness. Yeah. Miss Elaine Verdun, so sweet, 45 years. Her and Wesley been married. Communication. She said they always sat at night and talked about everything, and they put God first, and they put each other first, and then their kids, and then everything else, and no one came between them.
Yeah, because I bet there was some times she had to explain to him late at night why he was wrong. So they could go to bed and not be mad.
We love Miss Elaine.
I'm just joking, Mr. Wesley.
Yeah, we love Miss. Adam and Marion, 62 years, said keep God first, which we know that is the number one thing is to keep God first.
Always.
The Boudreaux, Todd Boudreaux, they've been married 24 years, and they said communicate and don't assume you know what your spouse is thinking or feeling.
Ooh, that
was a good one.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we think, and we can think out an argument in our brain, and we think that he said that because of this, and then you just dwell on it and you're thinking about it, but you can't do that. You cannot assume.
One of the things I learned that when I'm talking with people and they tell me something, I try to repeat it back to them to make sure I heard them correctly, because a lot of times you repeat what somebody said and they say, well, I didn't say that. So I misunderstood you then.
Right.
But we hear through filters. The things that I think you mean from the experience I've had with you. So the longer you've been married, the more experiences you have with each other, the more you assume what they meant when they said. And you need to ask. If you think, I asked Sister Janet one time, I said, I'm just going to go ahead and assume you're not trying to start a fight, so I must have misunderstood you. And she laughed at me. She said, well, no, because I don't like to fight. And so I misunderstood what her intent was. So it's always important to make sure. Now, maybe they are being mean. I don't know. But if they're not, wouldn't you like to know before you start a fight?
Yeah, that's true. True. Let me see if I can find Suzanne since I was right there. Suzanne, she said, you can't fix nor change your spouse. You have to allow Jesus to be your first love and allow God to work in your life, keeping your eyes on Him. God will teach you how to love like He loves, serve like He serves, and also exhibit understanding and patience like He does. He transforms and establishes His presence in your marriage. That's really good. He transforms and establishes His presence in your marriage. And that is if you let Him.
If you let Him.
And you have to humble yourself.
Yeah.
You have to let pride go. You have to forgive. If you want your marriage to work, you have to do those things.
It can't be about winning the fight.
No.
I can't want to win so bad that I don't care for the right or the wrong of it. I just want to win. When you live that kind of a life, you generally wind up being alone.
Yeah. You can't be the one that has to be right all the time.
No, and everything's not worth dying for. I mean, there are some hills, you know what, leave it alone and go on. And just let it go. It doesn't matter, except that you just want to be right. And you can be right and alone, or you be forgiving and with a spouse.
Yeah.
A lot of times you can't have both.
No. Donna Dufresne, who's been married 41 years.
To Keith, your friend.
And she's an angel being married to Keith for that
Yeah.
long.
Yeah. Thank
And
you,
everybody
Jesus.
knows Keith said amen. No, we love Mr. Keith.
But it's still true.
It's still true. Keep a good sense of humor, which you have to have if you're married to Keith, huh, Donna? I'm sorry. Have fun together. Have time away alone or with friends. Work the differences out all along the way. That's so true.
And then, you know, Keith missed Brandon's first birthday. He was fishing.
Oh, he brought it up.
Yeah, I can't believe I did that. Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that crazy? You
That
missed
even I remember that. I wasn't even here. I didn't even live here, and I remember that.
All right, let's move on before we get something started. All right, Amanda Guidry, they've been married 31 years. How about that?
Wow.
And she said, look to the word when you are having trouble. And that's so good. What would Jesus do?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You have to say all these things. And a lot of times, let me just share this. I don't know if I shared this last time or not. But those 5 years, did I say that? That he prayed for me
Yeah,
so long.
you did. And
I was praying for him. I was praying in his attitude. That's right.
obviously, she had more faith than I did.
Okay. Talk things through. Forgive and don't hold on to hurt. We all make mistakes. Say things out of anger. So try not to say things you don't really mean. Treat each other with respect. I like this one. Always kiss goodnight.
Oh,
We don't do that
I know we don't.
because I go to bed
She
early.
goes to bed way earlier than me, but she could come kiss before she went to bed.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else. Carla Weber, who wrote a book, just saying, so I'm condensed it. But it was good. It was good stuff. Be intentional with one another. Pray together. Focus on what you can change in yourself, not in your spouse. That's really good.
Yeah.
Keep communication open and listen to each other. That's really good. And she also said this, which I'm glad she added this. If your spouse isn't saved, don't give up. Keep pressing forward. Pray and intercede for God because God is able.
Amen.
That's
true.
really good. So if you have someone that is not saved, just keep praying for them and be Jesus. Be the Jesus that they'll see. Because if you go home after church and you're bad mouthing the church and the preacher and everybody else, they're not going to get saved. Because that's
Well, they're not going to go to that church where they got a dumb preacher and idiot people going to it.
right. So you have to really make sure that you're uplifting and watch your words and just be Jesus to your spouse.
Yeah. And you can't badmouth her or him and talk bad about them and then invite them to church.
Right.
Because they're going to think, well, you know, I don't really want what you have.
So Rocky Grow and Matthew Grow, they come to our church. They've been married. They'll be married 50 years in August. Wow. He's an evangelist, so he's in and out, but she always lets me know when they're going somewhere so I can pray with them. She said it is work. Work together and laughing is good.
Absolutely.
Amen. Absolutely. And then Brother Troy, they're going to be married 34 years. Brother Troy and Missy, y'all know them. God created us different, so accept the differences in each other. That's really good.
Yeah, it's hard.
And then he talked about the help meet. So you want to explain?
I love that. In the Genesis, God created a helpmeet for Adam. And I thought when I first read that, that's just a King James word that meant helpmate. But you go back and look at that word, and that word means one that comes alongside and strengthens. And I'm going to tell you, when I looked at it that way, God created Eve to come alongside of Adam and make him whole. God looked at him and said, it's not good that you should be alone. And I believe that God has a person set aside for all of us that comes in, and they're not quite the same as we are. We're a little offset. And where I'm weak, my wife is strong, and where she's weak, I'm strong, so that together we have more strength and weakness. A helpmeet, one that comes alongside and strengthens. And that's what God created each of us to be.
That's right. That's good. And then he said no negative words, which is good. He also said God made attributes in one another. Each one has weaknesses, which needs positive encouragement. That's good. So if you know your husband or your wife is weak in an area, then encourage them.
Don't beat them
Build
down.
one another up in the Lord, and words of life bring life. That's
Amen.
so true. And the last one I have for you before I have the question and I have a scripture, Chris Cormier, which I loved hers. Her and Joe have been married 40 years. Number one was commitment. You have to have this one. And I like this one. Girls, y'all listening? Keep your eyes only on your own man.
Yes.
I love that though. That's so true. You know, keep your eyes on your man. Care for the one that God gave you in spiritually and physically. Both serve God with all your heart, soul, and mind. And if you'll keep God first in all things, then He will, you know, because the enemy wants to come in and he knows the powerful impact that both of you have together, because two are better than one.
Yes.
So he knows what that impact can be, and so that's why he fights
He
against
attacks it,
marriages.
because
So
a house divided can't stand it.
that's right, so much.
Now, my advice on a good marriage, after will be 34 years in June, for me, I think that keeping a healthy relationship between me and my wife, we talk about things, we discuss the direction we're going as a church, as a family, but also the physical attraction, the physical touch, the whole attribute. We're a body, soul, spirit, spirit, soul, and body, and the whole person, the three parts of who I am, I have to maintain and be healthy. And that's part of the marriage. God created us to have that intimacy, not just the physical intimacy, but also but that emotional intimacy, that I come to her when I'm struggling, and she's always encouraged me and helped me to get a perspective of kind of what needed to be. And I think maintaining healthy communications, healthy affection with your spouses helps you to keep your eyes on your own person. It helps you not to be wondering. You know, one of the things they said, what happens when men go through midlife crisis, they have affairs, but when they have and they're in love with their wives and they have a healthy relationship, they don't look for other places for that. And so for me, it's having healthy relationships and keeping that intimacy open between me and my wife. Yeah, doing that, I don't wonder where she's at. I don't wonder how she feels. I don't hope this or hope that, but I make sure of it by our interaction. But I remember some years ago, I'd asked Brother Bruce Porsche. They were married at the time over 60 years, and I was just so impressed by that because, you know, that's a long time, longer than I've been alive now, much less then. So I said, Mr. Bruce, what is your secret for staying married all these years? He said, Brother Packy, learning when to shut up. I laughed till I hurt myself because Brother Bruce was always kind of a quiet man anyway. But he said, you got to learn when it's time to stop talking.
That's so true.
Because sometimes our mouth's doing this and I'll be doing this.
All right, so let me share a scripture with you, and that is in 1 Corinthians 13, sorry. No, let me look where it's at. Yeah, 13. 1 Corinthians 13, because you know that's a love chapter. Yeah, so I want to read that because we need to remind ourselves that 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 8. Though I speak with tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understanding all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith, so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing. But love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It's not puffed up. It does not behave rudely. It does not seek its own. Is not provoked. It thinks no evil. It does not rejoice in iniquities, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things, because love never fails.
Amen.
So if we just keep him first and go back to this, love suffers long. Love doesn't envy. It doesn't get puffed up. It treats, it was right. It doesn't hold anything. It doesn't hold grudges. It holds no record of wrong.
That's right.
Love.
Yeah.
Love conquers
Forgive
all.
and go on.
That's right. And that's what you have to do in marriage.
Yes.
All right. You may read this question, or you going to do that?
Well, we could probably read the question and talk
How much
about
time we got left?
what it goes along with some of this, the question.
Okay.
10 minutes.
All right. Perfect. Let me get to this question. We do have one question. Let me find it here. And this is what she asked. She messaged us on Facebook. So, could we possibly discuss confrontation and reconciliation when handling problems with our young adult children in one of your segments, like you did? Okay. Discuss confrontation and reconciliation when handling problems with our young adult children.
Well, here's one of the issues. It's difficult for parents to be involved in their young adult marriages because mom and dad tend to want to fix the situation because we're smarter. We've done more, we've gone through that. I've had to battle that before. If you just stop and listen to me. The problem is our young adults, they're adults. And they know when mom and dad didn't do it right. They remember when mom and dad had arguments and got upset. And you know, I remember when I was growing up, I said I would never whip my children like my daddy whipped me. Oh, I was wrong. Oh, I beat the kids. I did.
Yeah,
But you know
I never
what?
said that.
It's because they needed discipline, and the Bible's for discipline. I had to learn that, you know, I wanted to do better than my parents did, and when I got married, I didn't want them telling me what to do. So if I'm going to be involved in
What?
Don't call CPS, we needed it.
Child services. Amanda says we needed them whippings. Y'all did. Y'all probably
They
need a lot
did.
more.
You'll need more than I gave them. But part of the process is in the way that we approach it. For example, if I was to say, let me tell you, I've been there, I've done that, you need to listen to me. You're probably going to get, you know, go and leave alone.
Yeah.
But if we present it in a way, hey, look, have you thought about this? Have you considered this? Because the truth is maybe one of my children's spouses does something really wrong. And my initial intent would be to be on my child's side against the person because they shouldn't have done that and that my baby deserves better than that. But that's not the way it is. The Bible says, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one. So if I love my child, I have to love their spouse. I have to develop that love with them. I have to develop that concern for them, that compassion for them. So when there are conflicts with them, I can't take sides. I have to hold truth. Because it may be that my baby's wrong, but he didn't have to act the way he acted toward her. She maybe, you know, and so, but you have a tendency to want to slide it. So when I'm having conflict and I'm trying to resolve that with my kids and their marriages, I have to be careful not to superimpose what I think, but instead just to present a plan. And hopefully they'll take that and use that. But I have to give them options. I can't just say, here's the way it is, do it. Because they are adults. So what I have to do is I have to be able to give them, hey, you know, what about this? What about that? Let them have some options, 2 or 3 things they can do that can help instead of having to do it my way. I need to think about it before I speak into it.
And I think keeping the lines of communication open with people.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a child that's, you know, giving you really bad problems, not just in the marriage, or maybe you have a young adult child. That's the way I kind of read it, but I may be wrong. I don't know
I don't know
the
the
content.
circumstances,
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you do have problems with your young adult children, and you have to have the guidelines and the rules and all that, but keep that communication open because you just never know. And don't close the door totally.
But you have to have boundaries.
You have to have boundaries.
In your life and their life. And if they're adult children, they're paying their own way. You know, they're going to make their own choices.
Mm-hmm.
All you can do is love them, speak to them, and be there when they need you.
Right.
If they let you. Sometimes our kids are going to have to fail before they're going to succeed. But I made a lot of bad choices in my road to making good choices. And I know that there was conflict between my parents and me, and I didn't want to hear what they had to say because I thought they didn't know what they were doing. I knew better than them, and I found out that I didn't. But it was in the way that they approached me. My dad had his own approach, my mom had hers, but the way they approached me mattered to how I responded. But one of the things that they did is they kept praying for me. And I think that's one of the keys, is that you continue to pray for your children, pray for their situation, pray for God to open up the door for you to be able to step in so there can be reconciliation. Because the truth of the matter is, I was mad at my mom and dad for years for things that they did or things I perceived they did. It was not even things that they did. I was still mad at them because I felt like they did. So I had to learn to forgive, to move on. But they had to give me time in order for me to be able to reconcile. And God reconciled us back together, and He healed those wounds. But it was in His time and not ours.
So I guess this is about it. We're winding down, unless you got anything else.
Well, the only thing I would say is when communicating with your spouse, usually when there's fighting going on, when we're upset with each other, she's telling me what her issues are with me. And so while she's telling me her issues, I'm thinking about what I need to tell her.
Not really listening.
I'm not listening to a word she says.
You're not listening, Linda.
Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, what she's saying is irrelevant to me. She needs to hear what I have to say because that's what's important. And so that's how come we argue and never resolve anything, because we don't listen to what the other person's saying. So when she talks to me, I need to listen to what she's saying, and I need to acknowledge it. Right or wrong doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is I have to hear her. So I will say, okay, so you're saying you think that I have no brain. And she may say, yes, exactly what I said, or no, that's not what I said. And then after that, I have to say, okay, well, you know what? I understand why you might think that, but here's what I see the problem being. So when I start telling her what I think, she can't then think about what she's going to say next. She has to just listen to what I say. Because what we're going to find out is we're arguing about things that are never being resolved because we're not listening to the argument. So we're not changing anything. So conflict resolution, it makes me listen to what she says,
Right.
her to what I say, and to at least acknowledge we hear each other. We may not change our point of view, but at least I feel good that she heard me. And she should feel good that I heard her. And hopefully, eventually, it'll get better. So that's what I would say.
Well, I hope these tips, these little things that will help your marriage, and I hope that you will put them into action. Just remember that it can't be healed until everything's revealed. So it has to open up, and you have to deal with issues. We've dealt with a lot of issues in the past and worked through them already. Thank you, Jesus.
It took her a while to get me in line, but eventually I did.
Yes.
So things are good. Amen.
So remember, we'll be posting stuff every week. Comment below if this has helped you, or if you have maybe another question, because I don't know if we're going to do this next week or not.
We'll see. We have Mother's Day. Brother Alan Griffin will be ministering for us. It's going to be Pie Day with Alan Griffin.
Yes, Pie Day. So make sure you have a pie at your house. With
Take a
Alan
picture of it
Griffin.
and put it on.
Yeah, take a
the
picture,
stream.
put it up there so we can see
On
your
comments.
family, your Pie Day, because we want to see y'all. Because we haven't seen you, and we're ready to see our people.
Let me see eating pie. Sullivan, make a crawfish pie and say something for me.
Ooh, that sounds good. So, anything else we need to let everybody know?
I think that's good.
That's good.
For now.
All right. We love y'all so much and hope to see y'all soon. Y'all
Love
are
you.
in our prayers.